Right, so this is my idea for my FMP. It's about radio, music, why everyone loves music, but in a sense, is it dying a little? So I'm doing this because music and radio is something that I've grown up listening to mostly. At my grandma's, I never really had a TV when I was younger. When I was younger at my mum's, I never had like the choice of TV, so I was always stuck with whatever mum wanted to watch. So I would often go and listen to music, things like that. So it's something close to my heart, it's something I'd like to do in the future. So I'd hope to improve my, I'd want to improve my knowledge of like how it works, how radio works, things like that, because it's something I'd like to go into the future. So talking with people in the industry, things like that, I would hope would improve my knowledge of things like that. From this, I should be able to, in the sense of like media and the course, I will be able to improve my use of a camera, doing lighting setups, things like that. So my project, the concept of my project is I plan to interview 2-3 DJs from a radio station or different radio stations, ask them different questions, why they love music, what made them want to do this as like a job, things like that, and if they think it is dying in a sense due to things like Spotify, YouTube, which obviously people can just get that on their phones and they can listen to things that they know they're going to like what comes on, rather than having the chance that the radio will play something they don't want to listen to and things like that. Because that's always a problem with radio in a sense, and adverts, things like that. So people would rather listen to something on their phone that they know they're going to like rather than something that they might not. So I did actually come up with a little like setup idea which you should see earlier, but that might not work in the setup, like in the area that I would want to film this in, as it probably wouldn't have enough space. So I would hope to have, like, ideally, I would hope to have a setup with a camera, with a shot on the person giving the interview, and 1 and 2 cameras on the person being interviewed. So that would be the person from the radio. And with that, I would hope so it would have a variety of shots and things like that. I'd have a microphone to each person so I could get some good audio, and so the lighting would all be set up, so I'd preferably have like one from behind each person and maybe a mirror type thing, reflector, to reflect the light onto them, and then maybe a light for the back, so a backlight, and a light to light up the front more. But that probably wouldn't work in the setup that I'd rather use, but in in a backup setting like this room, for instance, that would work. That should work better. So preferably I'd like to film this in the radio station where people work, so you have like shots, so in the background you can see the music equipment, things like that, so it gives it more of a sense of where it's at and what it's about from straight away, rather than in like a room like this where it's like wouldn't have much, like it doesn't have any radio equipment other than like a microphone, things like that. So this setup that I would preferably want would work better in here, but wouldn't work with the overall tone in my opinion. So because of the size of like where I'd be able to record in a studio, I would probably be able to get maybe one light and from behind and a reflector to reflect it onto the face of the interviewer and the interviewee. I would, and probably have a camera so you can see both people in the one shot, rather than having camera on one, camera on another, and then maybe a second camera on the other person. So I could have multiple shots, because due to the space that I have, it would be much harder to fit it all in. And obviously if I'm in their space, I don't want to, like, if they don't want me to like overly fill the area and make it way too cramped, I can't do that, because it's not my space to decide. Yeah, so I have on Tuesdays and Fridays I'm not in college, but I can always come in, so that's subject to change. And if I'm not in college, I'll be working on things from home. I've filled in like lightly the things that I'm going to do, and I haven't fully came up with a time schedule for it yet. I'd probably be filming between the 7th to 11 week, or 14th to 18 week, preferably 7th till the 11th, due to the so I have time to edit it, anything I need to make sure it's all edited well. And then this is just a few pictures. So I came up with, that was like a small thing that I came up with this morning, like a small idea. So it has like the two people in the chairs, camera for both. I didn't add the second camera for the person being interviewed in this, but then you have the light from behind, or anything that comes past can be reflected for both people, background fill light, and then a light that comes and fills the entire area, preferably. And just a few other like small ideas that would work more in here than in the like radio station. So that's essentially the majority of my idea. Does anyone have any questions?
You guys have any?
Which radio station do you
I'd go and ask things like Eden FM, but preferably Radio Cumbria or CFM, things like that, because they're local and probably the most listened to in Carlisle, at least in this area.
Just a couple of things. You're very much orientating this whole sort of production towards popular music, is that right? Just that radio, why do we love music, and radio, is radio dying, sort of thing. An awful lot of people listen to Radio 4, because of factual content, and I suppose Radio 5 for 5 Live and all that for sport and all that kind of stuff. That's never going to change at all, because people in cars all over the place can't watch television. It's a bit difficult, obviously in terms of YouTube, and you're not going to get involved in Spotify for factual type stuff. So straight away I'd say all that kind of thing is absolutely going to be there without a shadow of a doubt. But I do take your point regarding popular music, why we do that. But it's more about the banter though, isn't it, with the DJs? With
Radio 4 doing more factual things, you could do that with like podcasts and stuff. Like, I know lots of radio stations that do things like interview things. They also upload it as a podcast for people to download, so people can do that as well. So in that sense, it's a little bit. But like, personally, I don't think it's dying. I definitely think it's losing out compared to the past. Okay. But I think it's also gaining because of the fact that like more people have access to like radio and stuff.
I think what you got to think about here is that your views, are your views, but you need a relatively wider sort of question set for the DJs, because these guys are very snappy. You may find that they give you your answer within 30 seconds or something, and that's a bit about all you can use. Do you know what I mean? Do you need a bit of a good in-depth kind of way of directing them to the kind of information that you want to have? Just in terms of contrast again, that old sort of thing, you know, you haven't got any... Hang on, I'm just a little bit confused actually on this. You are going to film this, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all going to be filmed.
Yeah. It would be
so this is very much a filmed piece. It's not a radio piece.
No,
it's not just.
it's not a radio piece.
It's very much a film. Yeah, of course it is. That's right. I remember now. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I did mention before that idea about you being more of a presenter, and it starts off with you tuning the radio in and all this sort of stuff.
I have thought about that. Like,
you know, there's nice visual.
That would be something that I would consider.
I should toy with that, yeah, and then a few pieces to camera between your house, your bedroom, so to speak, and you know, the point where you actually do the interviewing of people, and then maybe afterwards, what you could do is maybe some kind of summary. So in other words, you're shooting it a bit like a magazine program insert, the sort of thing that you might see on the One Show, which is about 3 minutes long. You know, where you have a specific little news insert thing about something, because that actually would be great to have, because that's the sort of thing that would be really useful to show to potential clients in both TV stations, you know, for news stations, and also you know, radio, because it shows that you can construct a little concise story with a bit of interest, and also, you know, it might really help to get you work as an on-screen presenter. Which is something that, you know, you said that you were quite interested in, on screen or indeed off screen. So I think you need to construct a little insert story about that. That's my view, rather than just going straight in and you're in there and you just, you know, got these talking heads. I think that's not enough. I think you need to have a whole little mini program in its own right, so to speak.
I kind of messed up with the slideshow, because I think it's I kind of slightly made it as in, like, you know how you gave us the brief and we were meant to like do a Word document and like give that in as well. I kind of did it like that, rather than how other people have done it, which I kind of messed up on there.
That's not too bad. It still works.
It's
we get a sense
like,
of it.
Yeah, I'd probably